We're about to begin what we like to call the Fix It session. This is the men's specialty. Men are fixers. I don't know, fellas, if you've noticed that women, for the most part, are fixators. They like to fixate, and then they're going to tell you all about it. And men, we don't like to fixate, we like to fix. In other words, our women, our ladies, our wives, they want to talk to us, and the entire time they're talking to us, we're trying to fix it. And so it just fits the two sexes as genders. God has kind of created a difference between the two. Now, our ladies will fixate, and they help us because we don't like to fixate. In fact, sometimes we don't see a problem if it's staring at us. But our wives, don't worry, we'll make sure you see it. And but men, once we fixate on something, once it's there, we're going to fix it. Brethren, this is the Fix It session. So I've demonstrated, I hope through principle, that we can have success. I've demonstrated, I hope through example, that you can achieve a cultural change in evangelism, and I have, by fact, shown us that we have a serious problem. So now with all those things combined, we need a congregational plan. What are we going to do about it? I mean, how do we take what we've learned and make it an actionable plan? If it's not actionable, we've wasted our time. It was Winston Churchill who once said, "He who fails to plan is planning to fail." Brethren, that's us. We don't have a plan. By and large, in the Church of Christ, our plan has not changed in decades. It's an annual plan, and we do it almost without thinking. I don't know the Deerfoot Church of Christ well, but I know you well enough that I could probably fill your calendar out for 2022. It would look something like this. In January, you're probably going to start a pew packer. You're probably going to get the kids up there and, start out the year, teaching them some Bible facts. Then you're going to start daily Bible reading. You may even pass out the little bookmark. You're going to put the passage in, and you're going to encourage the church to read their Bible. Now, in February, it's Valentine's Day, so you're going to have some type of marriage retreat. You're going to have some type of family theme. You might have a date night for husbands and wives. You emphasize the importance of the marriage relationship. Now, in March, spring gospel meeting. You're going to invite all the sister churches, and we're going to make sure that we have lots of congregations present. We're going to count them. We might even announce how many sister churches are attending. We're going to put it in the newspaper, send it out in house to house. We're going to get the flyer. We're going to put it in the bulletin. Now in April, we're going to have the annual Easter egg hunt. Now we don't call it Easter egg, we call it egg hunt. And we're going to hide eggs. We're going to let the children go out and find the eggs. Now in May, we're going to have a graduation banquet. We're going to make sure we decorate all the tables. We're going to get the money tree out. We're going to put the pictures in the bulletin. You're going to put the pictures on the internet, the video, PowerPoint. We're going to show them how they've kind of started when they were 5. And now, we don't want to offend. Everyone graduates. Kindergartners graduate, first graders graduate, fifth graders graduate. Now, in June, it's Bible camp time. Time to get ready. Man, we're going all out. VBS time. July, it's time to put the VBS and Bible camp together. Lots of church resources required to put that successful. We need cooks and counselors and teachers and campers, and we need everybody. All hands on deck. This is going to be a big moment. In August, back to school backpack time. We're going to give backpacks to the needy children, and we're going to have a teacher's appreciation dinner. After all, it's time to go back to school. We're going to get it all going. Then in September, well, man, it's fall gospel meeting time. We got to get the flyers out. We got to get the sister churches invited, and we got to hype that up. Now in October, it is trick or trunk. We're going to decorate all the trunks up. We're going to invite all the community to come get their candy. It's a great, we might even have a wiener roast. We might have roasting of the marshmallows. November, it's benevolent time. Meals on Wheels. It's time to deliver meals, turkeys. It's time to goodwill towards all. December, it's the dreaded men's meeting. We have to have it every year. I know you don't like it, but it's required. We get all the men together. Who has questions? We present the annual budget, and we're going to have the holiday dinner. We might bring the Christmas tree. We won't call it that, but we're going to get the gifts together. Brethren, we do it every year. This is the routine the churches of Christ follow almost to a T every single year. How many baptisms does it produce? How many conversions? How many Bible studies? And what I've noticed is that we do the same thing every year. We get the same results, but we keep doing it. Every year, our calendar, it looks almost identical. I put those calendars together. When I was preaching at Willette, congregation of over 300 people, every year I put the calendar together. You know what I did? I took 2015, I saved as 2016. I just adjusted the dates forward. There's no changes whatsoever. We do the same thing every single year. I started to wonder. I said, if we keep doing the same thing, we're going to get the same results. We're going to have to either do something differently, we're going to have to reboot. I want to give you a plan. I want to give you 10 things you can do to create an evangelistic culture in this church. And I'm not asking you to stop VBS. I had one eldership call me and he said, Rob, we decided to stop VBS because we're not converting people at VBS. I said, brother, that's not the answer. The answer is not to shut down VBS. The answer is to make VBS evangelistic. The answer is to use all the contacts you get in VBS. And what event during the year in the church provides more contacts than VBS? When you have Vacation Bible School, you have sinners coming from everywhere. I mean, it is a treasure trove of contacts. So I want to propose the following. Don't stop the graduation banquet. Don't give up on your gospel meeting, but become evangelistic in every outreach that you do. It starts by, number one, equipping the church with the tools to do the job. I've never been to a church that did not have salt, pepper. They didn't have a coffee pot. They didn't have coffee filters. They didn't have tables and chairs. They didn't have forks, knives, and spoons. They didn't have oven, microwave, refrigerator. They didn't have napkins. They did not have everything they needed to open a soup kitchen. Brethren, we have everything needed in the local church to open up a teacher's resource room. We have laminators, crayons, scissors, we have glue sticks, and we have a poster board and construction paper and color paper and white paper and copy machines and safety scissors and rulers, and we have everything we need. Where is the evangelism material? Where is the material that we need to do Bible studies? Most churches don't have it. I went to one congregation a couple years ago, and I asked the elder, I walked in, he said, preacher, he says, let's sit down and talk. He said, if we wanted to make this church evangelistic, where would you start? And I said, I'd make sure I had evangelism tools, like back to the Bible. He said, oh, we knew you were going to say that. Follow me. So I got up with him. We walked down this long hallway. We got to the end of the hallway. He brought out the ring of keys. He says, got to get in the room. We finally got into the room, turned on the light. On the back of the room, there's a locker. It's locked. He gets out the ring of keys. We finally get the right key. We open up the locker. He reaches up and he pulls out a pack of Back to the Bible. He said, preacher, we've got the evangelism tools right here. We ordered them. We knew you were coming. I said, brother, I have one question. I said, why are the tools needed to evangelize locked in a room and locked in a locker? Why do you have them locked away? He says, oh, we were afraid someone might get them. Isn't that the point? The point is we want people to get them. I don't know why we don't have evangelism materials in the church. We ought to have Bibles that are made for Bible studies. We ought to have materials for 1 study, 3 study. People don't believe in God, don't believe in the Bible. We ought to have training workbooks, tracts, door hangers. Brethren, we need to have everything that we have at our disposal into the hands of the church members. Number 2, put it where people can get it. Do not lock it in a locker. Don't sit it in a library. Don't put it in a filing cabinet. Put it out there. When people walk into your church, the first thing they ought to see is evangelism. Members should not be able to leave the church building without stumbling over it. I had a preacher, and I said, preacher, you need to put the evangelism materials out where people can get it. He said, Rob, I tried that. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I got a table. We called it our evangelism table. And we put a nice table skirt on it. We put the name of our church on it. We put out all the materials so people could get it. He says, I came back 2 days later, and it was gone. I said, where'd it go? He says, what? He said, I don't know. So he said, I put it out again. He said, I put all the materials out. I had 2 skirts. I put another skirt out, and I got it all ready. He said, I went back a couple days later, and it was gone. I said, brother, where's your evangelism materials going? He said, I called one of the elders. He says, and the elder said this. He said, now, when we built this $3 million facility, he said, now, we asked the members, and we polled what goes in the foyer, and everybody had to say so. He said, now this gaudy table you put out there was not in the plan. Now we have decorative art, various chairs. He said, and one of the ladies came by and they noticed an unauthorized table was in our foyer and they complained. And so we decided we would put it in the coat closet. And I said, okay. He says, at this point, I was about to lose my cool, but I kept it, if that's what they want. So I got into the pulpit on Sunday night, and I preached on the evangelism materials in the coat closet. I said, brethren, we've got Back to the Bible. We've got Open Bible Study. We've got Does It Matter? We've got Believe the Bible. We've got the door hangers. We got the DVDs. Go get them. And so I went and stood by the coat closet door, waiting for the brethren to come in and get them. Do you know how many men went in to get the Bible study materials? 0. May I suggest this afternoon, if we cannot put evangelism materials in the foyers of our church buildings, we sell the buildings and go home. We are the Church of Christ. Our mission is to equip the saints so they can save the lost. Brethren, put your materials out there when people can get them. Do not lock it in your office. Do not put it in some library that no one uses. Put it out there where people can take them. When Chandler Hudson came to me and he said, Rob, he said, I'll teach Marshall. I said, well, go grab those Back to the Bibles in my preacher's office. And it's clicked. I said, what am I doing? So I grabbed all my evangelism materials, I put them on a table in the foyer, and I announced to the church, if you want to have a Bible study, that table, it's called our evangelism table, and we're going to put muscle and a shovel on it. We're going to put Bibles on it. We're going to put door hangers on it. We're going to put every tool you need and whatever you need. In fact, we're going to ask you, brother, to be in charge of it. We want you to make sure it's equipped every Sunday. Whatever is needed on that table, go get it. Have you ever noticed when the refrigerator goes out, we never have to require a men's meeting as to whether or not we're going to replace it? We go replace it. If the ladies say their microwave doesn't work, we replace it. Why is it that we have to have a budgetary meeting to go out and get Does It Matter and Back to the Bible? I've never understood that. That is the purpose of the church. Brethren, it ought to be the number one thing we do. Studies. Number 3, train them how to use them. A DeWalt drill in the hands of a carpenter is a masterpiece. They can do anything with it. They can make things, put it in my hand, it's a dangerous weapon. You know why? I don't know what I'm doing. You put it in the hands of a master craftsman, they'll make you a beautiful pin. They'll make you a bowl. They'll make you something. You put it in my hand, there's no telling what you're going to get because they've been trained how to do it. What kind of owner of a business purchases tens of thousands of dollars of equipment and never trains their employees how to use it? What good is the software if you don't know how to use it? What good's the machine if you don't know how to run it? What good's the scanner if you don't know how to make it work? So yes, get the materials. I want you to get the materials, but train your members how to use it. I don't know how many churches, they'll spend thousands of dollars getting all the materials and they sit in a room. Put them out there where they can get it. Put your preacher in the pulpit. I'll give you the PowerPoints. I'll give you all the training materials you want. You won't have to spend 1 minute developing it. Put it on the screen, pass it out to every single church member, and on Sunday morning, preach it. Preach Back to the Bible. Preach Does It Matter. If your preacher cannot preach Back to the Bible, fire him. It's the most fundamental thing you got. Any preacher can preach this stuff. If you can't preach John 8:32, you shouldn't be in the pulpit. And brothers, we can take this material, we can train our church members, we can equip them, we can prepare them how to go out and do Bible studies. It's amazing what happens when you equip the saints. Anybody ever hear of Cliff Goodwin? Cliff does preaching the gospel. He replaced James Watkins. Cliff is an amazing preacher. And he said, Rob, would you come train the church how to do Bible studies? I said, sure, I'll come. So I came, it's our Ironitan congregation. I went down to Ironitan, Alabama, trained the church. And a couple months later, I contacted Cliff. I said, how's it going? He said, man, we're having baptisms left and right. I said, well, great. Cliff, I knew you'd do it. He says, I'm not doing it. He said, Rob, since you've trained that church, he said, we have our members going house to house, and they're doing Bible studies, and they call me 3 o'clock in the afternoon and say, hey, preacher, can you help me? I've got a baptism. He said, Rob, I've never seen anything like it. So you train church members how to do Bible studies, they might do a Bible study. We may not rely just on Richard to do it, and I'm all for the preacher. I think you should be involved in it. You should be leading it, but we need everyone involved. Train your widows how to do it. Train your widowers how to do it. Train your young people how to do it. Train a 15-year-old how to do it, and he might convert his grandmother. That's what we have to do. We've got to train our church members how to do it. Simple, right? I mean, you're in sales. I mean, how effective would you be if you didn't have the tools? How effective would you be if you never trained how to use them? I mean, how many men in this auditorium have been successful in your business world? You've advanced, you've been promoted, maybe you own your own business. You do these things. And that's the point. In life, if you're an insurance agent or you own an insurance company, you do this stuff. If you don't do this stuff, you go bankrupt. Brethren, we can do this in the church. You see, we got to train, equip, and we have to provide it for our members. Number 4, then we got to create an atmosphere where evangelism works. We got to create an evangelistic atmosphere. We got to promote it among the members. Now, we got to promote it in our community. Now, God has given you the promotion material. If you don't promote your business, you're done. If you don't promote your product, you're finished. And so whether you do it from door to door or on television or on an internet ad, you must promote. How do we promote evangelism in the church? Use the tool God gave you. Now, when I was growing up, and I hesitate. I've always hesitated at this point to say it because I don't like to disagree with my older brethren. I don't like to disagree with my older preachers because I admire them and I love them. But I'm not so certain we did the church any justice by saying this in the past. There are 3 works of the church: benevolence, edification, evangelism. 3 works of the church, and we stress it. I'm not dismissing there are 3 works of the church. I get it. But I believe in the mind of church members, what we did is compartmentalize those works. We got benevolent, and they do their work. We got edification. That's the pulpit. He does his work. And we got evangelism, and we do that in India. Brethren, benevolence is not a separate work from evangelism. Benevolence is an evangelistic promoter. For most churches, benevolence is an albatross around the neck. I mean, let's just be frank. We don't like it because it eats up resources. It eats my time. And when I was at the Whitacre Church of Christ, I looked at benevolence as a hindrance that got in my way. I had bulletins to fold. Hello? Do you pay light bills? Oh, no. Yes, sir, can I help you? I ran out of gas. I'm sure you're going to California. Yep, from New York. And I'm sure you're a member of the Church of Christ. Yes, my pastor so-and-so and Reverend so-and-so said hello. Never heard of them. Don't you notice they always run out of gas in your parking lot, Richard? It's always in your parking lot. And they're going to come and ask for help. Now, I was so discouraged. I was so put out by these charlatans, and most of them are. So I asked the elders in an elders meeting. I said, brethren, I'm tired of wasting my time with all these people asking for help all the time. I said, can we put a second phone line in? And they said, why? I said, well, I'm going to call it the benevolent line. And when anybody calls that line, it's going to get an answering machine and say, if you want help, come to our benevolent building at such and such hour. And that way I don't have to deal with it and I can keep studying it. They said, sure. Brethren, that was a terrible plan. That was a terrible suggestion on my end. What I did is I took benevolence and I separated it out as a separate work of the church. Benevolence is done so we can evangelize. Why did Jesus feed the 4,000? To get to their soul. You don't teach people on an empty stomach. Brethren, benevolence is an evangelistic promoter. And I started to understand I'm missing something. You will not solve world poverty at the Deerfoot Church of Christ. Let me be clear. And you're not going to get rid of all the poor. Jesus said the poor will always be with you. So what's benevolence? The purpose of benevolence is to build a relationship and a trust so you can do a Bible study. So why not the next time someone asks for benevolent help? Let me give you a suggestion. Do this. Hello? Yes, sir, my name is Bob Smith. And do you pay light bills? Yes. Just say yes. Do you pay mortgages? Yes. Do you pay cars? Yes. Do you provide food? Yes. You never say no. Whatever they ask, it's a yes. And, oh, wonderful. I knew I'd find someone that cared. Oh, we care. When do you pay this stuff at? We pay it every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Can't wait to see you. I don't know if I can wait that long. Well, we pay it on Sunday morning also at 8:15 or 9:30, whenever your Bible class is. We pay it then too. Really? Yes, sir. I don't know if I can wait that long. Well, I'm so sorry. Call the local community, probably has some programs for you, but we do ours at Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Now, you've already done point 3. You've trained the church members. So you got church members here that can do Bible studies. When they walk into your church building at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night, you say, brother, I need you to take this family back to room number 2 and grab back to the Bible and do a Bible study. Why aren't we doing Bible studies with people who ask for our help? We ought to study with every single benevolent request that's made to the church. And when you do that, you baptize. Do you know what most churches do for benevolence? I'll give it to you. We got a benevolent building. We got benevolent vouchers. We got bread boxes. We got backpacks for Christ. We've got supply giveaways, turkey giveaways, Coke giveaways. How many baptisms are you getting? None. But if you do it the way I just suggested, that's what you get. Every year at Jacksonville, we baptize several people just because of that one phone call. We just say, hey, yeah, we'd love to help you. Whatever they ask for. Do you pay gas bills? Yes, oh yes, we love to pay gas bills every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and we can't wait to see you. And when they walk in the building, we do Bible studies. And after the Bible study, we ask the elders, would you meet with this person? They've done a Bible study and they need a little help. And the elders can determine how much to help them. But our job is to do Bible studies. Jesus never intended for you to solve world poverty. Jesus intended for us to seek and save the lost and teach them the gospel. And so, yes, we'll help people, but I'm more concerned about them being lost. That's where benevolence works. Benevolence tied to Bible studies is powerful. Benevolence as a separate work of the church drains your resources. I know that because I've been there. I've been in those congregations where we have the benevolent building and we have 100 people a week go through it. 0 baptisms. That shouldn't be happening. Her name's Kim. Kim called the church and said, I just moved into the community. She said, I don't have anything. I got your house-to-house, heart-to-heart, and it said you have a free benevolent pantry and help. She says, I need help. I said, Kim, I'm so glad you called. And, hey, Kim, do you have a ride? She said, I don't have a car. I said, I tell you what, why don't we pick you up on Sunday morning? We'll talk about it. She said, all right. We picked her up on Sunday morning, brought her over to the Jacksonville congregation. She met some of the members and said, well, could we take you out to eat? Always eat. We took her out to eat, visited with her. Then we took her over to the house, started talking to her. I said, Kim, is everything okay? She says, well, I'm really short on food. I said, man, what do you need? She said, well, I need a little food to get me by for another few days until I get my check. I said, okay. I said, well, let's go to the store and get it. So I went to the store. We got her the food. We put it in there. I said, oh, by the way, Kim, would you like to come on Wednesday night? What do you think the odds is she says no are? She said, oh, yeah, I'd like to come back. I said, wonderful. I said, we'll pick you up at 6:45. Picked her up, brought her to church, took her back to her apartment, and we did this for several weeks. And you know how hard it is now for me to ask the question, after the church members had given her rides to church and we've helped her, hey, Kim, would you like to know more about this church? Sure would. I just so happen to have these booklets. When we noticed in book number 1, I noticed Kim was having a hard time reading. I said, Kim, is your eyes bothering you? Are your eyes? She said, I can't see well, Rob. I need glasses, but can't afford them. I said, well, how much would they be? She said, well, there's a place down the road I checked into. It is $100 for a free pair for a pair of glasses. I said, well, make your appointment. She said, Rob, I don't have the money. I said, I didn't ask that. I said, make your appointment. Nicole took her Thursday. She went down, got her eyeglasses, brought back. We finished the 3 studies. What do you think she did? She never misses a service. Number 5. This is number 5. Now, I'm going to give you a lot more. I'm giving you the nuts and bolts. I'm giving you the outline. When I meet with your elders and deacons, I'm going to, for the next 52 weeks, I'm going to develop all these points. Number 5, right here. You need to produce contacts. This is the most important thing this church will do. If you have no contacts, you have nothing. And so you have got to harness the members' contacts into a congregational perspective list. One of the best ways to do that, learn how to use house-to-house, heart-to-heart. We baptize 3 to 5 people every year at Jacksonville doing that. Everywhere I have gone, we have baptized people just because of the proper use of that magazine. But I've noticed many churches don't do that. Many churches don't have any baptism from house to house. I couldn't believe that. When I went to house and I started learning that there are a lot of churches using this, but they don't get results, I was floored. I said, well, what's the problem? And I started looking into it. I found 10 common mistakes that churches make with house to house, heart to heart. I'm going to talk to your elders about this later. I want to try to fix some of them, and I pray that we can utilize house to house to its fullest. But let me just show you a couple. Number one, churches don't advertise themselves properly. Can you imagine having a business but having a phone number where people could never reach you? You give a phone number, but you never get a human being. You get an answering machine every time you call. Friends, it's never going to work. Can you imagine having an email address on the front of a magazine, but you never get a reply? Because I test them. A lot of times I'll go to a church and I'll send just a blank email. I'll say, my name is Joe Smith. Just want to know more about your church. I wait a day, no response. I wait 2 days, no response. I wait 3 days, no response. I never get a response. I call phone numbers. Phone number doesn't work. Phone number has an answering service. I never get somebody. Would you be able to sell insurance like that? Would you be able to sell your product like that? Man, you'd be out of business. Your family couldn't eat like that. I notice also there's some other things that are not, they're not working. On the front page of the article of the publication itself, they're not utilizing the very services that they offer in the community. People don't even know about it. Now watch this. If you do it properly, you're going to get this. Her name is Ellen. We come back from a seminar. Nicole went to see her mom and dad with the kids, and I'm on Sunday morning, I'm sitting in the pews, and I look out to my left, and there's this lady sitting there, and I don't recognize her. She's a visitor. So Alan Webster's preaching. I walk back around, and I kind of make sure that she's going to run into me, you know. She comes right up to me. I said, hey, are you visiting? My name's Rob. Are you visiting this morning? Oh, yeah, my name's Ellen. I was here last Sunday. I don't think I met you. And I said, well, I was traveling. And I said, well, nice to meet you, Ellen. Did you like the service here? Oh, sure did. I said, wonderful. Ellen, are you by yourself? Oh, no, my husband was sick, though, this morning. Do you live in the community? Yeah, just down the road. Man, she's checking all the boxes. And I said, this is great. I said, well, I would love to meet your husband. She said, well, maybe he'll be feeling better. Do y'all have an evening service? Glad we weren't shut down. This was last year. This is February. This is right about when things are starting to heat up in this country. I said, yes, ma'am, we do. She says, well, come back. I said, can't wait. So she brings him back. Nicole comes back Sunday night. I introduced Nicole to her. She introduces her husband to us. His name is Perry. I said, hey, you guys, we just have this custom. Would you guys like to go out to eat? And she says, yeah. I said, Perry, what's your favorite restaurant? He says, Afina's, but it's kind of expensive. I said, it's all right. I said, it's our treat. He said, man, my stomach, though, I've had some. I said, how about next Sunday? He said, I'll take a rain check. They came next Sunday. They're sitting in the pew. So we go over to Afina's. We sit down. Brethren, I could care less about the lasagna. I have one mission. We're just talking, and I'm probing. I'm looking for the sweet spot. What do you think about NFL football? I stopped watching it a couple years ago. Rob, I said, me too. He said, well, what do you think about basketball? I said, well, he said, I'm not a big basketball fan. I said, oh, I understand. You like to hunt? Every now and then. What do you think about college football? Alabama. Boy, there it is, Nick Saban. Brethren, if I have to be an Alabama fan to get a Bible study, I'll be an Alabama fan. I'll be whatever fan I need to be. And I said, go Nick Saban, And I said, man, it's been a tough year for you guys here at Alabama. You didn't win the championship. Anytime Alabama doesn't win the championship, it's a tough year. And I said, tell you what. I said, Perry, tomorrow is the national championship game, Clemson and LSU. Nicole, I've got an idea. What was that? That was her kicking me in the shin. She knows what I'm going to do. Why don't you come to our house tomorrow? Nicole will fix you we're going to have a football party. Nicole's going to fix the little weenies. She's going to wrap them up mustard, on it. We're going to get the chips and dip, and this is going to be exciting. And would you like to come, Perry? In my house, I've got a big screen. When I bought my house, this guy was a big Auburn fan, huge Auburn fan. He had this huge football screen he put up in the movie room, and he'd always invite his buddies to watch football. You and I could watch the game together. Really? I said, I have 7 speakers and a subwoofer. You have never heard a football game like this before. He said, I'm coming. Brethren, all I want is a Bible study. I'll get it. At halftime, on Monday night, LSU was blowing out Clemson. So I looked over at Perry and Ellen. I turned it down. And I said, hey, guys, I said, I got a question for you. I said, I'm just curious. Why'd y'all visit Jacksonville? I mean, there are 10 churches in Jacksonville. Why the Church of Christ? She said, Rob, 21 years ago, you guys sent us house to house, heart to heart. You've been sending it every year since. And she said, I love it. I said, why? She says, because it follows the Bible. She says, we're Methodists. We don't follow the Bible anymore. She said, Rob, I don't know if you've been listening and watching the news, but we can't even agree who's properly married anymore. I said, oh, Ellen, I'm sorry. I said, so you're interested in the Bible? Oh, very interested. I said, I just so happen to have these booklets. Honey, get the Bibles. I said, we have something you're going to love. Really? I said, yes, let's look at it together. That's 3 weeks later. Do you know why they came to Jacksonville? Because of the publication. They'd have never come without it. I want to share with you on the inside, there are these free offers, and a lot of churches don't take advantage of this, but people will write you and they'll say, hey, could we have that marriage material that's in the box there? Could you send us that? So Deb Rice is one of the secretaries at House to House. She calls me and says, hey, Rob, we've got this local lady named Brenda. She's asking for marriage materials. I know you've got this school of evangelism, so I thought I'd tell you, but I'm going to mail it to her today. I said, oh, no. Well, Rob, we always mail it. I said, that's why you don't baptize. I said, we don't mail things. Well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to hand deliver it. And she says, I said, put it in my box. She puts it in my box. Nicole and I drive down to the church office, grab the marriage material. We go over to her house. We knock on the door. And always bring your wife. Never go alone, men, for multiple reasons. Multiple reasons. You always have a child or a wife with you. So she opens the door. She sees Nicole. She smiles, sees me, and hides. That's what normally happens. And so she said, I said, ma'am, my name is Rob. This is my wife, Nicole. And she's my best selling point. And I said, yes, ma'am, we're from house to house, heart to heart, and you asked for some marriage material. Oh, yes. Well, that's so nice of you to bring. I said, have you just got married? Yes, I did. I've been married about a month now. I said, wonderful. I bet that's exciting. Oh, it is. And I said, how long have you lived in the community? She says, why did you bring it to my house? You could have just mailed it. I said, but then I couldn't meet you, Brenda. And we really would like to meet you. Well, that's nice. And Brenda, how long have you lived here? We've lived here about a month. And I said, good. Where'd you come from? We came from the other side of Alabama near Huntsville. I said, okay, great. We're glad you're here. And we have a church home over here in Jacksonville. Church. Oh, you do? Do you have a church home? No, haven't found one yet. And I said, well, what? She says, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. Do you know anything about the Bible? I said, oh, just a little bit. And she said, good, because my husband knows nothing about the Bible. Daniel, get up. That man's been on the couch ever since he got home from work. I don't know what he's doing over there. Daniel, get up off the couch and get over here. These people have come to teach you the Bible. I'm blown away. And I said, yes, ma'am. I said, when would you like to start? She said, how about tomorrow? I said, yes, ma'am. That one knock on the door, we baptized 7 people. We baptized the husband, the wife, the friend's friend. We baptized the aunt. We baptized the cousin. And we just kept baptizing. What would have happened if I mailed it? Nothing. Nothing. Brethren, you always hand deliver requests. You always go to their door. You always make face-to-face contact. Face-to-face contact is one of the surest ways to close the sale every single time. You need a target list. You need a list, a target list. House to house can develop a target list for you. In other words, if you reached out to this church and said, all right, I want you to give me the name of and address of every person you know that does not receive house to house, heart to heart, that lives outside of our mailing area, we'll send it to them. You know why that's important? Because once you start sending house to house, heart to somebody, you're going to wait 6 months, and then you're going to go up to them at work, and this is what you're going to say. Hey, Richard, I subscribed to this magazine for you called House to House, Heart to Heart. Have you been getting it? You remember it? Here it is right here. And Richard's going to say, yes. I said, well, you're a religious guy, and I thought you might like it, so it's a gift just for you. And thanks, I appreciate that. Have you read it lately? Well, I'm going to make sure to read that since I know you got me as a gift. I'll come back and ask you about it later. You're going to wait 1 month. Come back. Hey, did you ever read that magazine? Oh, man, I like that. I've been reading that. He said, that's got some good stuff in it. I said, it does, doesn't it? If you can't carry that conversation on, I mean, surely you can carry it on. You can talk about, hey, what'd you think about this article over here about the church? What'd you think about this article here about morals in America? I mean, it's a starter. Target them. Target every person that's outside of I know you have a mailing area for house to house, but it doesn't cover everybody. So what you want to do is ask your members to submit addresses of people that are not in the mailing list. If it's just one person, we'll send it to them. If it's 100 people, we'll send it to them. Now, you need to do a little door knocking. Every year, church needs to do a little door knocking. I'm not asking you to spend all your time door knocking, but you need to do a little bit of it. Now, every year, we have an annual door knocking day. We do it October the 2nd this year, 2021. I hope you're registered for it. You need to go on the website, say, hey, we're going to do it. The first year we did it, we had 600 churches of Christ going door to door, and we baptized. We had, I think it was 9 reports of baptisms on that very day. This year, we're shooting for 1,000 churches of Christ. So we have a special door knocking edition. And it's great. If you go and pass out house to house where you mail it, it makes it simple. I'm going to use you as my example. I'm going to knock on the door. You're going to open it. How you doing, sir? My name's Rob, and we've been sending this gift to you every month called House to House, Heart to Heart. Do you recognize it? Yeah, y'all been sending that to us for years. Man, I like that publication. My wife and I read it. I said, well, wonderful. What do you like about it? Are there any articles, suggestions you'd have for articles? We'll put them in there for you. Any religious questions that you would like answered? We could submit it for you in the publication. It's a door opener. It's no longer a cold turkey door knock. You're asking them if they enjoy the magazine that you subscribed and you send to them. And so you're checking up now. So what you're doing is taking the 500, 1,000, however many you send out, and you're going to check and see, is the field softened up a little bit? Every year I did that at Willette. We did that for 11 straight years. We baptized somebody every single year doing that. You need to do new movers. Most congregations don't know about new movers, and then those that do know about it don't understand completely how it works. Let me explain it to you. We have access to every person who moves into your community. I know their name and address. I know everybody. We have access to every family that moves in. Now, why is that important? Because what we're going to do is send them a new movers edition of House to House. We're going to send them a postcard from house to house welcoming them to community. And right now, my wife is training your ladies how to go shopping in the name of the Lord. They're going to the Dollar Tree and they're going to put this basket together in the name of the Lord. They love to shop. Now they're doing it for the church. We're going to put these baskets together. We're going to take that list. We're going to bring up the map because we have a special app for new movers. We can show you where they live. You're going to blow it up. You're going to go to their door, and Richard's going to say something like this. What's your wife's name, Richard? This is my wife, Mary. My name is Richard. Welcome to the community. We wanted to provide you this gift. And, my wife's made you some chocolate chip cookies, too. And, how long have you guys been here? Well, that's awful nice. Yeah, yes, ma'am. We just wanted to welcome you. We know how it is to be new people in the community. And hey, have you guys got a church home yet? No. I said, we got this great church down here called the Deerfoot Church of Christ, and they made this basket of stuff for you. Well, that's awful nice. We'd love to see you. Well, thank you. That's called the New Movers Basket. David Shannon said it, Freed Hardman, who's the president of Freed Hardman. He said this a couple years ago at Polishing the Pulpit. People are most likely to change churches when they move. Brethren, when people move, that's the perfect time to approach them. Look at this. He said a couple of generations ago, if a couple or a family or an individual moved from one city to another city, they usually stayed with that same denomination. Those days are over. Now people are willing to look at any church in their neighborhood. Think about it. Brethren, they're willing to look at any church in their neighborhood. That's a powerful opportunity for evangelism. It doesn't matter to me what church you were a member of in the last community. I want people to visit the Church of Christ because it's going to give us the best opportunity to sit down with them and study the Word of God. Use new movers. We baptize people with that. Now, add this. Start a healthy, robust cart ministry. I'm not talking about some at-large ministry. I'm talking about an organized card ministry with teams. I'm talking about something that's very targeted. You have list addresses. You keep up with who you send them to, how many they get sent, how long they get sent cards. Brethren, if you'll do that, you'll baptize. We baptize 3-4 people a year doing that. We just send them cards, lots of cards. We take the contact list. We prospect them through cards. We prospect them through new movers. We prospect them through door knocking. We prospect them through house to house. And we just keep prospecting. Her name's Bettina. And Bettina got a house to house, heart to heart. And she called. And she says, I just moved into the community and don't have a way. I'm being kind of sick. Could you come and could you pick me up for church? And I said, sure, I'll be glad to do that. I said, so I was out of town, and it was Cage Summers, our associate minister. He picked up Bettina, brought her to church, and took her back. And they called me and said, hey, Rob, we got this contact, and we thought you might like to know about it. I said, absolutely. So when we got back in, we went to visit Bettina. And when we got to Bettina's, when we got to her house, her apartment, I mean, it was a mess, gentlemen. I mean, it was literally an absolute mess. There were literally clothes everywhere, and she's feeble. She needed help and strength. Bettina, would it be okay if we help clean this place up? And so we went ahead and we took the clothes and took them to the house, and we laundered them, and we took her back. We took her to church, took her back, and we put her on the compassion card list, and then we started sending cards out. Everywhere. She had cards all over her apartment. So when I went back, she says, Rob, I got these cards from your church. She said, those are the nicest people. I said, well, Bettina, would you like to know more about the church? And she said, I sure would. And I said, well, great. I said, I just so happen to have these booklets. I said, why don't we do this first one together? So we opened our Bibles. We did the study together. When we were done with the study, I said, did you like it? She said, I sure did. I didn't know some of those things. Now, Bettina's a religious person. She kind of knows the Bible. So we come back to second study and do the second study. Now, we're in the third study. I got to tell you about this. We get to Mark 16:16, and I said, Bettina, could you read me Mark 16:16? So she looks at it, and she says, oh, my pastor told me about this verse. I said, really? I said, well, what did he tell you? He that believes is saved and baptized. Bettina, would you read Mark 16:16 for me? Rob, it says, he that believes is saved and is baptized. I've never experienced this before. I said, Bettina, would you read it word by word? She says, is there something wrong with what I'm saying? I said, just read it like one word at a time. And so Bettina said this. She said, he that believes and is baptized. He that believes and is baptized. That is not what my pastor told me that verse said. That's where we went next. I had a feeling that Bettina had a connection to the church. I wasn't sure. And so I asked her, I said, Bettina, have you ever visited a Church of Christ before? Yes. Now, Rob, I was a Baptist. I said, well, I understand. She said, now, but when I was in Ohatchee, I don't know if you know where Ohatchee is or not. She said, I went to the church there, the Church of Christ. I said, really? I said, how long did you go? 7 years. I said, why did you go there? Oh, she said, I lived next door and I didn't have a car, so I walked. I said, okay. And Bettina, while you were at this Ohatchee Church of Christ, did anybody ever ask you for a Bible study? No. Did anybody ask you if you remember the church? No. So for 7 years, you went to a church and no one requested a Bible study? No. You're the first one, Rob. Hello? Hey, Rebecca, what's going on? Where you at, Rob? I'm in Texas. Rob, Bettina is blue. Huh? Shake her. Rob, I did. Rob, I think I need to call 911. She didn't make it. Aren't you glad she still wasn't at Ohatchee? How many people are sitting in our pews that we've never done a Bible study with? How many times do we have in churches of Christ, how many people sit in our pews and they've never had a Bible study? It's inexcusable. It should never happen. We need to reach out to people when they visit. Have visitor bags. This is basic, right? This is basic stuff. When I needed a new car. My car had a lot of miles on it. I went to the Ford dealer. I'm looking for a car. Man, within 30 seconds, I got visitor bags given to me, steaks being offered, whatever it is, they're offering it. They know exactly how to sell a car, don't they? You know the top salesman of the year for cars? The top salesman, he's the same guy I forget his name. He sells the most cars in the country every year. You know what his secret is? Cards. He actually employs a group of ladies, and all they do all day long is send cards. He says he's got welcome bags all over the place. He said, my job is to make them feel at home when they walk in. He sells cars like that. That's called the visitor bag. My wife right now is teaching your ladies how to go shopping in the name of the Lord. She's telling them, go to the Dollar Tree, go to your elders, get a little church funds, ask them for some help. Go to the Dollar Tree and buy the products and put them in the bag. You're going to buy a little tumbler, for water. You're going to buy breath mints. You're going to buy pen, pad, paper. You're going to put it all in there, put a little information about the church, and line it up out there. Then you're going to select families. Team 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got sections, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to select 4 families. Family 1, family 2, family 3, family 4. These are congenial families. These are the families that when you talk to them, you want to talk to them. They're very easy to visit with. They're conversant. These are attractive. These are the individuals that you want to introduce people to. They're not, some of us are awkward. Let's be honest. Some of us are awkward. We don't put awkward people in these positions. We put people that are very easy to talk with. So we're going to pick 4 families. Then we're going to teach them about the visitor bag. And here's how it works. What's your name again? Okay. I'm going to sit down. I never hover over people. I never get them at the door. I sit down. I'm one of the families. Hey, my name's Rob. Are you visiting this morning? Hey, and I'm going to sit down. We're just going to talk. Are you from the community here, Brandon? And great to meet you and your family too. Wow, you got several children together. This is your first time at Deerfoot, the church. Hey, I got something for you. Let me go get it real quick. Visitor bag. Brandon, this is for you and the kids. Thank you. It's got some information about the church, got some water bottles, some breath mints, well, that's really nice of you guys. I said, we give it to all of our visitors. By the way, now, your name is spelled B, and I fill it out. B-R what now? A-N-D-O-N. And what street are you from over here? And can I get your mobile number, if you don't mind? And we're going to send you some thank you notes for coming. Well, that's really nice of you. I'm going to immediately give that phone number to Richard, because that afternoon he's going to send you a text and he's going to say thank you for visiting. And that Sunday night, I'm going to take the name that I just got from that visitor bag and I'm going to put it on the compassion card list, and we're going to send you 40 cards. And on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you're going to be overwhelmed with cards. So you're going to get the visitor bag, 40 cards, the text from the preacher. That's called customer acquisition. That's called prospecting. What's going to happen to Brandon? He'll be back Wednesday night or Sunday. You just made my job easy as a preacher, because now I have tilled the soil. I can plant the seed. So that visitor bag is going to give you more contacts. So it's all about contacts. By the way, in the last month, this is what's happened at Jacksonville. 1 month. We have passed out 2 visitor bags to visiting families. This is our new preacher. His name is Keith Ritchie. Keith doesn't know a member from a visitor. He's brand new. You know how that feels. So I saw this family walk in. I know they're visiting. I walked up to them. I got the visitor bag. I filled out the information. I went up to Keith. I said, Keith, we got a visiting family. I need you to take them out to eat. I said, all you got to do is invite them. And he did. He walked up and said, my name's Keith. This is my wife, Lynn. Hey, could we take you guys out to eat for lunch? Well, that's really nice. Cameron and Lindsay. I've got their information right here. I've already photocopied it. I'm disseminating it as I speak to the elders. We're getting ready. Compassion cards. We're going to send cards. We flooded them with cards. On Tuesday, Keith is studying the Bible with them. 3 weeks later, he's baptizing them. We do this all year long. Brethren, this stuff works. I don't want a welcoming committee at the door. I don't want to surround them and to suffocate them. I want them to sit down. By the way, Barna did a study recently among religion. Very revealing. I'm going to let you men answer the question. I'm going to survey this audience. What is the number one thing a visitor wants to do when they walk into a church? What's the number one thing they want to do? Say again? Disappear. Most churches will say they want to be greeted. No. They want to feel welcome. No. They want to sit down. They want to sit. Let them. Do not bombard them at the door. Let them sit down. Once they sit down, sit with them. Just sit with them. That family you selected, sit with them. Where you don't have assigned seats anymore. Wherever they're sitting is where you're sitting. And so you're going to sit with them and talk to them. You're going to generate the contact. You're going to start the process. Take people out to eat. Take them out to eat. When Teresa and Dre visited 2 Sundays ago, and we got there on a Sunday night, and we come back into town. I saw those visitors back there, and they told me, they said, Rob, they're visiting. We got their contact information. I said, and I started visiting with them. I said, hey, you guys are new to the area. Do you know any of the local restaurants? Haven't been into any of them yet. I said, man, we got Calhoun Steakhouse. I bet you like steak, Dre. He said, man, what man doesn't like a steak? I said, yes. He said, I tell you what, why don't we go get something to eat sometime? And I've already done one study with them. I got the next study next Tuesday. This is what we do. Take people out to eat. Use digital media. Use community outreach, whatever it is. But here's what I want to get to, this right here. So let's just suppose you focused the purpose of the church on evangelism. Everything you do now focuses through soul winning. Ephesians 3, 9, and 10. To this intent that now unto principalities and powers in heavenly places it might be made known by the church the manifold wisdom of God according to his eternal purpose, which he purposed in Christ Jesus our Lord. So now the purpose of the church is to evangelize. So we're going to reach out to every non-Christian sitting in our pews, and we're going to try to do Bible studies. We're going to focus our attention on cards. We're going to make a robust card sending ministry. We're going to focus on visitors. We're going to focus on door knocking. We're going to focus on house to house, heart to heart. We're going to focus on new movers. We're going to use digital media. We're going to use benevolence. You ought to be baptizing 15 to 20 people a year. Brethren, it's an all-out effort, hands on deck. Every church member's involved. We're going to use benevolence is going to produce 3 or 4. The card ministry is going to produce 3 and 4. House to house is going to produce a few. Door knocking may get you 1. Visitors, you might get 2 or 3. People in your pew. We had a family recently visit, and I said, why did you guys come this morning? Oh, we heard your radio program. It doesn't matter to me what it is. I want them in the pews. Because when they come, that's a contact. Now I can prospect them. Now, number 6, these last will just take me a few minutes. Every church needs to have a populated prospect list. I'm going to teach you guys how to do this. So I'm going to encourage you to get the contact cards. And once you get those contact cards, these bookmarked, we're going to encourage the church members to write down 10 people they know that are not Christians. That's the individual list. We want you to have a target. If you're going to get the big buck, you put your scope on it and you shoot. We need a list of sinners. And we want the whole church to be involved in this process. Everyone. Now, that's Mount Pleasant, Texas, right there. You know what they're holding up? Those are their members holding up their bookmarks. That's 8 people. That's 80 names. Now the congregation is going to take those 80 names, and they're going to focus the entire energy of the church on each one of them. We're going to take them one at a time. That right there is going to produce baptisms, 11 in 11 weeks. You know why we don't hit our targets? Because we don't have any. Brethren, if you don't focus on somebody, if you don't list somebody, if you don't make a concerted effort to reach someone, you'll never reach them. And we need your help. We need the church members to give us names. Brethren, no, I'm not asking you to go do a Bible study. Richard to do the Bible. I bet you don't have to ask Richard twice to do a Bible study. But can you give me a name? Anybody. Who's your neighbor? Who do you work with? Tell me their name. Give me their address. Brethren, we're going to bring to bear the power of kindness. We're going to bring to bear the power. And as soon as they get sick, guess what the church is going to do? We're going to put them from the bookmark to the congregational contact list, and they're going to get 40 cards that week from the church. As soon as they lose a loved one, we're going to move them from the bookmark to the congregational list, and they're going to get 40 cards that week. As soon as they have a new baby, get married, as soon as anything happens in their life where we can reach out to them, we're going to be there. So you've got 3,500 names at this church. Of those 3,500 names, is anybody sick? If they are, they go onto your congregational contact list, and everyone in this church is going to try to reach them. It's amazing what happens when you do stuff like that. Number 7, get everybody involved. This is not a work of the preacher. This is a work of everybody. So it's your job. This is the hardest part of it. The elders and the preacher, the deacons, get everybody involved. And so the body is not one member, but many. I saw that little picture you guys got in the foyer. That's Ephesians 4, verse 12. It's great. That verse should describe you, that everybody is a part of this body and everybody needs to be working together. So everybody reaches out. Everybody has a job. By the way, do you know nobody gets COVID because of cards? Everyone can, until Dr. Fauci says otherwise, everyone can send cards. No one gets sick because they get a card. Who can't send a card? Widows, widowers, young people, older people. Everybody should participate. Number 8, make evangelism the centerpiece of this church. It should take precedence in every elders meeting. When I walked into an elders meeting, my dad's an elder, my grandfather an elder, my uncle. I come from a rich history in the church. I love the church. I grew up in a church building. I walked into my elders meeting at Willette, and I said, brothers, I said, could you let me start the meeting? They said, Rob, is there something on your mind? I said, yeah. I said, and I know we need to talk about the pews that need to be, cleaned, and I realize we got a leaky roof, and I know the parking lot needs to be resurfaced, and I know Sister Susie's mad at me because I ignored her, or she thinks I did. I know all that's important. I want to talk about Ronnie Rhodes. Who? Ronnie Rhodes. He's been in our pews for 30 years. He's lost. And I want to talk about Billy Hudson, the Methodist who comes right after services and sits with his wife every Sunday. And I want to talk about Samuel Gregory, the Mormon who moved here last month, and he's been visiting. And I want to talk about Bruce Bartley, the Baptist who comes with his wife. I want to talk about him. Rob, what do you want to talk about? I want a Bible study with all of them, and I need your help. We made it our mission. We put their names on our whiteboard. I don't know if y'all have an elder's office or not, but we have an elder's office at Willette, and we put the names of all the lost on our whiteboard. We baptized every one of them within 12 months. We made it our mission. They were more important than anything we did. We talked about them every time we sat down. We prayed about it. I said, Mr. Hugh's been an elder for 50 years. Mr. Hugh, would you pray about Bruce Bartley for us? And he prayed. And then after we were done praying, I said, what can we do to reach him? Do you know his family history, Mr. Hugh? Tell me about his parents. Tell me about Bruce. I wish I had time to tell you about how we got to them all, but it's amazing when you prioritize it. Number 9, publicize it. You should talk about it from the pulpit. Evangelism should be in your bulletin. Evangelism should be on your Facebook page. Evangelism should be in your website. Evangelism should be the face of everything you do. When you have a vacation Bible school, you publicize. It's evangelistic. We want names. You talk about it from the pulpit. You announce it. The preacher discusses Bible studies. It becomes the public ministry of the church. In too many cases, evangelism is the light under the bushel. No longer will evangelism take a backseat to anything. We will push it from the pulpit. By the way, there's an old phrase in sales, what gets pushed gets praised, and what gets praised gets pushed. You push it. And when you push it, brethren love it. It's on their mind all the time, and there's no one better to do that than elders and preachers. And I've noticed this about churches. If you have an unplugged elder or an unplugged preacher, it fails. Your preacher and your elders have to be tuned in to this. This has got to become the most important thing they do. Number 10, pray about it. You should be praying about it publicly and praying about it privately. And in fact, I was at Jacksonville a few months, and Robert Whiten said, hey, Rob, would you lead the closing prayer? I said, sure. So I got up there and I led a prayer. I said, Father, help us reach Jerry Conley. Help us have a door of utterance. Give us courage, wisdom to know what to say. I actually named him. He's not in the pew. I wouldn't do that if he was in the pew. Member of the church walked up to me after the prayer and he said, who's Jerry Conley? I said, he's been in your pews for 2 years and he's lost. Is it okay to mention someone's name in a prayer? I hope so. How many times have you heard a man lead a prayer and fail to pray, God, keep us safe? Lord, keep us safe. Lord, keep us safe. Why can't we pray for the lost? Pray for them. Brethren, there's no reason why we should not pray for people who are lost that we can reach. Pray for your contact list. Get that list and pray for every person you're trying to reach. Focus the minds of the brethren on it. Pray for wisdom. Pray for courage. Pray for doors of utterance. If Paul could pray it in Ephesians 6 and Colossians 4, surely we can pray it. Those are just a few things I wanted to share with you, but I want to leave with this slide. You will never hit a target you don't aim for. Bobby Bates used to say it like this: my little bit of something's better than your whole lot of nothing. We have to do something, brethren. This is a great place to start. I hope to develop this with you, and I'm sure you have a lot of things you're going to teach me over the next year, things that you're doing that I don't have any idea about. And so if that be the case, I pray that we can work together. We can focus the energy of the church. And I don't expect any congregation to become the evangelistic juggernaut overnight. This is a big ship. You have 350 members? It's a big ship. You don't turn big ships quickly. 1 degree at a time. Just one step at a time, brethren. And if you keep focused on your target, you'll hit it. But you can never stop. Evangelism is not a checkbook item, checkmark item. It's not a theme. We're not a poster board. We're not a flag in the auditorium. Evangelism is what we do. It's everything we do. It's who we are. And if we don't evangelize, we're not doing the will of Jesus. Jesus came to seek and save the lost, didn't he? Can you be like Jesus and not do that? Thank you for allowing us to be here. Looking forward to tomorrow. We're going to keep training tomorrow. We're going to meet with your elders and deacons here in just a minute. It's been a great afternoon, great morning. I know you're tired. You've eaten. You've been able to stay alert. I hope this has helped. 10 things you can do, and we're going to develop it further. If you have any questions, come and talk to me. Why don't we close with a prayer? Would that be okay?
Absolutely. Let's bow. Our Father in heaven, we are humbled in your presence. Father, we're so thankful that we've been given this seed. We know that Paul planted and Apollos watered and that you provide the increase.
Amen.
I pray, Father, that you will help us to take this vital information